Hello there, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for this video because it is another collaboration with Dualended. I was ecstatic about a month ago when they reached out to me and said, hey Sharalee, would you like to do another little pink box? And I said, yes, yes, yes. You all were so supportive of my first little pink box. You not only blew my socks off, but you blew the socks off of Dualended. They could not believe how it kept selling out and selling out. You all were so supportive. So this time they asked me to compile my top 3 summer picks from the Dualended line. And then they said, hey, by the way, we have a new product coming. Would you like to help us launch it? Not only will it be launching today all by itself, but it's also going to be included in my new little pink box. And I was just so thrilled and feel very honored to be given that task. So in a moment, I'm going to show you what is in my new little pink box. And then I will show you how I pulled together this entire look using the products from my first little pink box and how those work with these new products in my second little pink box. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Now let's get started. So if you are new to the Dualended beauty line, I will leave a link to a couple of videos that I've done previously with a lot more detail because I don't want to go in and waste too much of your time right now with all those details. But basically, Dualended is a clean beauty brand. They infuse all of their products with amazing ingredients, skin-loving ingredients. They're cruelty-free, they're sulfate-free, talc-free. They leave out all the bad stuff, put in all the good stuff, so your skin loves their products. So today, I'm gonna share with you the 4 products that are in my little pink box. So 3 that I picked that I had used and loved for quite some time, and then 1 brand new product. So the first product, and this is what kicked it off for me, I didn't even have to think twice that this product would be included, and that is the Serum Bronzer. This is specifically called the Fresh Squeezed Vitamin Infused Solid Serum Bronzer. Now this bronzer, I'll show you my brand new one. And then in the Get Ready With Me demo, you'll see the one that I use on a daily basis. But this is what it looks like. The tone of it is so perfect. It gives you a bronzed look, but also some sculpting. So it's kind of a 2-in-1 product. This sinks seamlessly into the skin. I mean, melts into the skin. You don't have to use any effort to blend it in. This is infused with watermelon, blueberry, guava extracts, along with a lot of other great things. It's helping your skin look a little bit smoother, helps blur imperfections immediately and then over time. So I have loved this. The first time I ever used it, I think it was in an uncut Get Ready With Me, and I just couldn't believe how easy it was to use. So if you're somebody who has said, oh, cream bronzer, cream contour is not for me, you gotta give this one a try. Now, all along the way, like I did the first time, I'm gonna tell you what the retail price of each item is, and then I'll tell you how much the box costs. So the retail price on this Serum Bronzer is $36. The packaging is super nice, super slim, it travels well. I've taken this on my trips this summer. So I have loved this bronzer, and it's definitely the first essential in my mind if you're gonna call something a summer pick or a summer box. You gotta have a good bronzer. Now the next product was kind of a random find. I had received this in PR from Dualended a while back, and I opened up a drawer looking for something else, and I saw this in there, and I thought, oh, I need to give that a try. And I tried it that day with the Reishi Mushroom Foundation and this Solid Serum Bronzer, and I was sold, and I've been using it ever since. It is the Dualended Sculpting Brush. So this sculpt brush, what I love about it, not only do you have 2 brushes in one, so you can easily apply your foundation with the one side, flip it over and apply your bronzer. It's 1 brush you have to carry versus 2, but it also, these bristles, the shape, everything about this brush works so well with, first of all, the Reishi Mushroom Foundation. This end of the brush, the smaller end, surprisingly, is perfect to be able to brush on a very light layer of the foundation. And then because it's slightly puffy, you can go back in areas where you want a little more coverage and just tap it in. It helps your products just blend seamlessly into the skin. I've also used this brush for a liquid highlighter or cream highlighter. It's just the perfect size to tap that on the tops of the cheeks. And then the other end, this fluffier end, it looks kind of dense here on first take. And so maybe that's why it took me a while to try it with the bronzer. But then when I touched it, I was like, oh, there's a lot of give there in those bristles. And because of that, it's so forgiving. And it doesn't, I have other brushes that are so tightly packed that they pick up too much product when you're using them with cream. This one doesn't. It picks up the perfect amount, and then you can just tap it in. And because of that shape, you can just easily find your cheekbone, tap in the bronzer, and you're gonna see how easy it is. Like literally a few taps and you're done. So loved that brush. The retail price on this brush is $34. And then I was trying to pick one final product for my top 3 picks, and I decided I've got to do an eyeliner. I love the All About the Eyeliner liners. As you know, if you've been watching me for the last year, from the first time I used one of these, it was automatically a favorite. I put it in my year-end favorites. I've used it in numerous videos. I've gone through 3 eyeliners in this line so far. Actually 4, I forgot, the plum liner. But I thought for summer, let's do the bronze shade because I love to do something that's not quite as dark and intense through the summer. I also, throughout the whole year, love to do something a little lighter on the lower lash line, and bronze is one of my favorite liner colors to reach for. Now, one thing that's unique about this liner is that it is always sharp. You don't have to use a sharpener for it. So the way it gets sharpened is when you put the lid on, you twist it twice, you hear that click twice, then you unscrew the lid and you have a perfect point on that liner. And usually this point is enough for me to do both eyes, and then I put on the lid and sharpen it again, and it's ready for the next use. Now, the other thing that is so amazing about this liner is it goes on buttery smooth, gives you a little bit of time to blend it out, and then it sets and stays. For example, this liner right here, I put on while I was getting ready. I have washed my hands since, and I still have that line on my hand. And I'm like, okay, I am really going to have to work to get that off. So it just stays on, it stays budge free, and I love those liners. The retail price on these All I Need eyeliners is $19. Now, the 4th product is brand new. And if you're watching this video on the day it goes up, this product launches today, and I am thrilled to be able to be the first one to share it with you. And I am thrilled that it has been included in my box. Now, if you bought my first box, you know how much I love the Reishi Mushroom Foundation. Well, guess what? They have come up with a Reishi Mushroom Concealer. This specifically is called the Doll Skin Genius Serum Concealer with Reishi Mushroom, and I love this. Now, I will tell you, when they asked if I would want to be a part of the launch, if I would want to put this in my box, I said, well, send it to me. And I was quite honestly a little nervous because let me show you what my concealer drawer looks like. Not only do I have all of these concealers in here, these are the concealers that I have kept that somewhat work for me in some scenario. Honestly, I really, out of all of those concealers in there, there are probably 3 or 4 that I actually reach for on a daily basis for under the eyes. I test out a lot of concealers. I take back a lot of concealers. And so it really takes a lot to impress me with a concealer. So when they sent me the concealer to test out to determine if I wanted to put it in the box, the first day, the first try on of this concealer, I was blown away. I should have taken footage of it because I was looking in the mirror going, wow, this is amazing. And I will have you know, I am normally a person who has to use color corrector, and I don't with this concealer. It's amazing. So this concealer is, of course, infused with all kinds of skin-loving ingredients. It's hydrating. That reishi mushroom really helps with anti-aging and just infusing your skin with such good things. So it's doing good things for our under eye area, but it also is covering well. And it says it's a radiant finish. It does have a little bit of a glow, but I don't feel like it's super radiant. And I just have to set it with a tiny little bit of powder, and it has stayed so well for me all day long. And since I don't have to use a color corrector with it, I just feel like my under eye area stays smooth throughout the day. I don't get that dry, crackly creasiness that I get with other concealers, especially when I have to pair it with a color corrector. Now, I've used this concealer with a lot of different powders, and I feel like it actually works well. It also works well unset. I'll tell you more about that in the demo. But really, I feel like one of the top best powders with this concealer is the Doll Skin Pink Power Brightening Treatment Powder, and this was included also in my first box. Now, this concealer, I'll tell you this as I'm applying it, but it just goes on so smoothly. It hydrates, it feels nice and cool, and it's more of like a gel texture. I honestly don't have another concealer that's quite like this texture. It's almost kind of a little mousse-like, but yet it provides such good coverage. I'll show you the 3 shades they sent me. So here they are swatched. So this is light medium, this is medium, and this is tan. And I think you can tell there, this medium shade is actually the one that I have been loving because it has a little bit of peachiness. Now, if I'm gonna do concealing around the face, I would go with tan, but under the eyes, if you have darkness, go with a concealer that has a little more of a neutral tone, a peachy pink tone, and that will help color correct and conceal. And that's what this medium shade does for me. So these are 3 of the 10 shades available. So the concealer and the foundation are both available in 10 shades. That doesn't seem like a lot in today's day and age, but there is something magical about this formulation. Even though it's just 10 shades, the shade range is really great. You've got super fair to super rich, deep rich. And somehow, even though the foundation and the concealer provide really good coverage, they still kind of somehow morph a little bit with what your natural skin tone is. And I feel like a lot of colors, a lot of different skin tones will work for each of the colors. So that's just a little FYI. So now the retail price on this new concealer is $30. So if we pull out our calculator and we add up all 4 of these products, you get a retail price of $119. But if you buy all 4 of those products in my little pink box, it's only $49. That is less than half the retail price of those products if you buy them individually. Now, as with before, this box is limited edition. You will be able to choose your specific shade of the concealer. But make sure you hop right over to their website, place your order. Now, they have assured me that due to how amazing you all were in your response with my first box, they are prepared. They are prepared for you this time, but I don't want any of you to miss out on this fantastic deal. And I feel like all of these products are going to be ones that, whether it's summer or fall or winter, these are going to be ones that you reach for all throughout the year. So I will leave a link to my box in the description box down below. I will also put across the screen here my discount code that you can use on anything else you buy. It doesn't apply to this box since it's so deeply discounted already, but it applies to anything else. So as you're going through, as you're watching my demo, or maybe you need a refill on something from my first box, head on over there, use my discount code. And now without further ado, let's rewind to pre-makeup face, and I will show you how all of these 4 amazing products work with the products that were in my original box. All right, so I have already prepped my eyelids, and now I need something on the lips. I'm gonna use the Dualended Peptide Plump Lip Oil, and this is in Juicy Nude. I love this. It smells like candy canes and really feels nice on the lips. Super comfortable. No tingle, no uncomfortable tingle or anything, but it really does help hydrate the lips and prep them for lipstick, or it's great on its own. Now, as we go to the face, I have already done all my skincare and skin prep. I do have my sunscreen on, but one thing I did before my moisturizer and sunscreen is I used this, what is this? Doll Skin Genius Super Spray. It's hyaluronic spray serum with reishi mushroom. This is a theme. Apparently my skin really loves reishi mushroom. I have been using this for several weeks, nearly daily, and it has the finest mist. It's so refreshing and it just helps give the skin a little boost, and mine definitely needed that today. So now let's go to foundation, and I'm using the Doll Skin Genius Serum Skin Tint with reishi mushroom. This was in my first box, and I have a mixture of tan and light medium. I just like the tones of those, and I think it's gonna match me pretty well. So let's just do a little swatch here. I have some sunless tanner on my face as well, but it's a different sunless tanner than my body. So, you know, it's always that matching game. I think that's gonna work pretty well. And now let's use the first product in my box, the Dualended Sculpting Brush. And I try to keep this clean, but I use it all the time. So the smaller end is my favorite end to use with this foundation because it is slanted and it's not quite as puffy as the other end. And so it allows me to just smooth on a thin layer of that foundation. And if you watched my launch video with this foundation, and I've talked about it since when I've used this foundation, you want to go in with a light layer. So before using this brush, I was using this paddle brush, this foundation brush from BK Beauty, the 113. But once I used this brush with it, this became my favorite because not only can you easily spread a thin layer of the foundation, but then any areas that you need extra coverage, you can just go and just push the foundation into the skin in those areas. And I just think this is the perfect brush. And because we have that dual end, we only need one brush for foundation and bronzer contour. You could even use this end as well for a liquid highlighting product. And it is a smaller brush, so you're working a little bit slower in one sense of the matter because you're working smaller sections at once. But I think if you're trying to get a sheer natural kind of coverage with your foundation, this is the way you should do it. All right, so as I have blended that in, I did say sheer natural coverage, but if you've used this foundation, you know it gives really good coverage, but it looks and feels like you're wearing nothing. And because I'm putting it over a matte sunscreen, it's not as glowy as it is if you put it over a more glowy base. So that's just an FYI. I have more combination to oily skin, and yet I can do this foundation with the proper prep. And I just love how my skin feels when I wash this off at night. It's one of those things that is not only giving us coverage during the day, but it's also doing good things for the skin. Okay, next, we'll go to the eyes next. And for that, we're just gonna do something super simple. So before we get to the next item in my box, let's go to an item from the previous one, the Afterglow Refocus palette. And I'm actually going to use this blending brush from Dalton. I have a mixture of brushes. I'll tell you which ones are Dalton, but I'll link everything down below. This is the eyeshadow blending brush. And I'm gonna go in with a combination of this light shade and just a touch in the bronzer. And I'm gonna put this above, kind of above the crease, since I've added that lighter shade. And then I'm gonna go in with just the light shade and put this right under the brow. Now this light powder, it does have a tiny little bit of a sheen to it, but it's nearly matte and it just blends so well into the eyes, but also on the face. So I'm just going to quickly do this here. And we are gonna do a slightly different look than I did the last launch video, but it's still gonna be pretty natural. As you saw from the intro part of this video, you know kind of where we're going. So let's get there, right? Now I'm just going in with the bronzer shade on that same brush and just gonna put this all over. And I may deepen up the outer corner a little more. So it's kind of, you can hear my thought process as this look comes together. I always have kind of something in mind, but during execution, you know, things change. So that's just how it is as we're doing our makeup, as we're doing artwork, right? All right, and then on the lid, I'm gonna start off with a combination. Well, let's start off with just this shade right here. This has some shimmer and shine to it, but it's not chunky glitter. Has a little bit of some gold. I just think this is one of the easiest things, and this does not irritate my eyes. So even though this is a face palette, I have not had any issues, so just FYI. And then right on the inner part of the eye, I'll go back in with this lighter shade, and we'll touch this up a little later after we do concealer, but for now, just want to get a little bit of this down. All right, we're gonna deepen up maybe the outer corner a little bit, but before that, let's go to the next product in the box, which is the All I Need eyeliner. And if you've been around my channel at all, you know the first time I used these eyeliners, I fell in love with them. And so when I was putting this box together and I thought, summer picks, we need the bronze eyeliner in here. Just right here up close, this is a slightly cooler tone than most bronze liners, but I love that because I think it gives a little more definition, and yet it has that hint of glow. So it keeps it a little lighter, a little softer on the eyes than the cocoa shade. I do love the cocoa shade though. Obviously, since I've been through 2 of them, I really love it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this on the outer corner. And this is one that even when I'm using cocoa on the upper lash line, many times I will go in with the bronze on the lower lash line, like I'm gonna do here, because it just is slightly softer. And I like a slightly softer look on the lower lashes here. And I think I'm just going to put this down here and not top it with shadow. We'll see. But right there, outer corner, just gonna smudge it. Now I'm gonna go in with the smudger brush from BK Beauty. This is a 204 brush. And I'm now just going to smudge that liner. So you do have some working time, but you'll wanna do one eye at a time if you're doing this. So you've got some time to smudge it out, but once it sets, it is not going anywhere. So this is a beautiful formula, has lots of great ingredients, and it also performs well. So the best of both worlds. So now I'm just going right up against the lash line just to deepen that. And then I will take this part way across. And now on the outer corner here, let's see, I'll add a little more here. And now I'm gonna go in with that same smudge brush and go back to this bronzer shade here. And let's just add this right on top, kind of the top part of that line, and just add some definition here. And then I'm going to take a slightly smaller brush. This is the rougher #1 brush. Go back in with a little more of that contour shade and a bronzer, I should say. We are contouring the eye. Do that just right there in the outer corner and blend it through. And now we have this really soft bronzy eye look. All right, so I have the other eye done, and you can see better just that nice gradation of color. And by putting the liner down and then smudging it and topping it with shadow, some of you might be thinking, well, why are we doing that? Well, it gives the illusion that we're wearing a couple of different shades of eyeshadow, and we're really only wearing one, which is actually the bronzer for our face, and then the liner. But because we put that liner underneath, it's going to hold and lock in the shadow all day. All right, let's clean up under the eyes. I really don't have hardly any fallout, but you know I love to add a little bit of almond oil, not only just to make sure we've got everything cleaned up, but also to prep the under eye area for concealer. Speaking of concealer, it is time for the next item in the box and the newest item, brand new to Dalton, and it is the Skin Genius Serum Concealer with Reishi Mushroom. I loved this from the first time I tried it, and that is so unusual for me for any product, but especially concealer. So out of the 3 shades that I have, medium is the best one for me. And ironically, this one has a little bit of a peach undertone. So I have been wearing this all by itself with no color corrector underneath. That has not happened for me in ages. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of this. And as you apply this concealer, you can just feel it's cooling, immediately cooling. You can feel the hydration. It is like a gel texture, and it just feels like I am at the spa getting a nice soothing under eye treatment. That's how it feels. I love that feeling. Now, Dalton also came out with a new brush, and this is the Perfecting Concealer Brush. Now, you know I have my favorite concealer brushes, but I thought I'll give this one a try, and I really love how this works. So it's slightly fluffy, slightly pinched. It's a little longer, seems a little big for the under eye area, but let me tell you, this paired with that concealer is a match made in heaven. So it allows you to just drag kind of the top of that concealer out so you can kind of spread it out, but you can leave the coverage where you need it. So I'm just really lightly brushing over this part of my eye, and you can see it's amazing. Now, this concealer, the other thing that is so crazy, and I noticed the first time, is I am used to applying concealer, letting it sit, and coming back and seeing whatever concealer I'm using be really, really creasy and kind of crackly along my under eye area. And I usually have to do pretty good work of blending those out and then setting with a good dose of powder. I mean, I don't do baking or anything. Well, this concealer, you will see it hardly has any creases under there at all. And in fact, I have tested this concealer out without setting it with powder, and it actually works. Now, for me, because I powder the rest of my face and it's more matte, I just prefer to have a slightly more matte look under the eyes. But if you're somebody who does not like to set your concealer at all, this concealer is a must try for you, because I think you're going to be so pleased of how it sits on the skin. So we are going to let all of that sink in and go to our next product in the box. And this was the number one, the first pick for this box, the second round. And it is the Fresh Squeezed Vitamin Infused Solid Serum Bronzer in Endless Summer. Now, this is the one that I have been using on a regular basis. The one I showed at the intro is the nice, fresh, clean one I haven't even touched. This one, you can see I have a healthy divot in because I use this all the time. Now, the brush, the magic brush, this end, the fluffier end of that Sculpt brush, is made for this bronzer. Let me just show you. So not only is this bronzer one of the easiest to apply, but pair it with this brush and it is like one of those no fail things, okay? So you saw I tapped twice. You don't need to swirl. You'll get too much on your brush. Tap twice. And I start here kind of a little higher. And I mean, I didn't swirl. I didn't work hard. I didn't break out a sweat. And it's blended in that little bit. And it's so buildable and forgiving. I think this is the perfect product if you are new to bronzing and contouring, or if you're somebody like me who is a pro, but you love to have something that is quick and easy, that you don't even have to work hard. It doesn't matter what lighting you're in. You can get great results every time. This is it. Now, the other thing about this brush is it really helps you if you're unsure exactly where your cheekbones are or where you want them to be. You can just lay this like on the top of your cheek, press that bronzer in, and you've got a cheekbone. So the color of this bronzer is just right to where you can actually get some shaping for your face. It's not a gray toned contour color by any means, but by just adding a little bit of bronzer to the tops of your cheeks, around the edge of your hairline, you're actually getting a little bit of shaping and sculpting to your face without having to do a lot of work. And this is my favorite way to get the look of vacation. Like, I've been on vacation. I've been at the beach. Even though I haven't. Well, I was about 2 weeks ago, but just for the day with my best friend, and we were under umbrellas, not getting sun. So this is the way you get sun without damaging your skin. Now I'm going to use that brush, just very softly, just layer a little bit along the jawline. And then I can use the edge of that brush, the longer edge, and I can go in areas like here, the back of the jaw, just to do a little further contour. I should say sculpt, right? Bronzing. So you can see by sucking my cheeks, you can see that healthy glow, and you can just keep layering as much as you want. And it doesn't get heavy, it doesn't get sticky. It's just a beautiful, beautiful product. Now, for nose contour, I'm gonna switch to the Dualended Deluxe Blending Eye Brush. And you can see it's slightly pinched, but it's fluffy. And I have been really enjoying this shape of brush for contouring the nose because it allows you to apply a little bit of product and then blend it out. And you can go in with a really light hand like I am doing and just softly shape the nose. And then I like to just go back with that sculpt brush, tap the sides of the nose. And then what's great is because you've got your foundation end of the brush, you can just switch it over and diffuse the edge of your bronzer anywhere that you need to. I think that's pretty good. All right, before we go to powder, let's go back to another item from my first box. And that is the Cheek Flush in Perfect Pink. And let me just tell you, this mixed with this bronzer is the perfect sun-kissed shade. Let me show you. I'm gonna use this rougher brush number 4, and I'm just tapping. And again, these can pack a punch. So just tap your brush in, tap it on the cheeks, gradually build up. We're not doing any swirls, and it's going to help keep everything in place underneath. And you can just build up as much color as you want. Now, I know I'm gonna go in with some powder, so I'm gonna feel free to add a little extra color here. It's really hot today, so my beauty room here is helping give me a really nice natural cheek flush because it's getting nice and toasty warm in this end of the house. But this is the way to fake that warm flush to the cheeks, right? Okay, let's go in with some powder. And I love the pink powder for under the eyes, but for the rest of the face, I need something a little heavier duty, especially for the summer. So I like to use the Honest Beauty Invisible Blurring Loose Powder. So So let's just put on a little bit of that real quick. All right, now it's time to set the under eye. And before we do that, it's always good to look really close and make sure you don't have big creases in your concealer. So I'm just gonna lean forward, and I mean, I've been talking and doing facial expressions, and you can see I have just a minimal amount of creasing right here in the biggest crease under my eye. But where I have cross hatching, it's just hanging together so nicely, and it's set down to a point where, again, if I didn't have the rest of my face super matte, I could leave it virtually unset. But I'm gonna add just a little bit of powder for me, for my preferences, and the pink powder is the perfect weight of powder for this. Nothing too heavy for sure. You wanna go in with a very light hand. I like to tap a small brush like this. This is the BKPD N17, N14. And I like to just tap off the extra and tap a little bit over the under eye area. And also by powdering your under eye area, it helps disguise under eye bags. So if you have under eye puffiness or bags under your eyes, by adding a little bit, just a little bit of setting powder, mattifying that area helps disguise that puffiness. Because if it's shiny under there, that can make the bag stand out when the light hits it, because it reflects, it pulls the light right to it. So we don't want to highlight those areas, right? So this is the best way to disguise it. There we are, everything is mattified and powdered. So now let's add just a little bit of extra powder bronzer on top. I do this personally, no matter what products I'm using, but because I have kind of more oily combo skin, we have super hot weather, this is the way to make sure that everything stays in place. And I am just one that likes to do my makeup and leave it for 12 hours. I don't come back and touch it up unless I'm going out or something in the evening for a special occasion that I might. But this is how I make sure that everything just stays like it is. But that serum bronzer will stay and last all day if you just want to do one layer. But this is just, I like to add a little more. And then I'm going to add just a hint of this pink with the bronzer right over top. So pretty. And while we're at it, let's add a little bit of highlighter and just tops of the cheeks here. And then I'll go back and touch up the inner corner of the eye. Now I'm going to do eyebrows and my mascara, and I'll link all those products down below, and I'll come back and we'll finish up with some lips. Okay, I have wiped off the lip oil and my lips feel like juicy and plumped. So let's add a little bit of MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot just around the edge. And I do this just to even out my lip, the edge of my lip line, because I have very uneven lip lines. And the bonus to doing this is it also helps lock in your lip liner and your lipstick so that everything stays in place and doesn't bleed throughout the day. Lip liner I'm going to use today is the new one from Maybelline. This is the Lifter liner, and this is the shade On It. So I'm going to swatch this right next to our bronze eyeliner shade. So you can see it's a nice kind of warm-ish neutral color. And then for my lipstick, I'm going to use the lip color that was in my first box from Dualended, and it is the shade Coffee Talk. And in my original video, when this box was released, I did more of a pink lip look, and I showed you what this lipstick looks like with pink lip liner. So let's see how it transforms today with more of a brown lip liner. Isn't that amazing? It's so pretty. It's perfect for the whole look that we're doing today. And it tastes good too. Just a little added bonus in case you happen to lick your lips with your lipstick on. Okay, let me remove my mirror here. All right, so here's our finished look. And I think this is summer on a face. I love it. It is that kind of bronzy, kind of like I've been on vacation type of look. And hopefully you saw how virtually effortless it was to achieve. Nothing complicated with the eyes, but by the right combination of products, we get this nice diffused liner with some definition through the crease and just a little bit of glow on the lid, nothing crazy. And then the cheeks, I mean, I'm wearing blush, but you're not looking at my cheeks thinking that I am wearing blush, right? This is like the most natural, sun-kissed flush to the cheeks, and I love it. So I hope that you enjoyed seeing all of these products in this new little pink box and how they worked with the previous pink box. If you didn't get your hands on that first pink box, definitely make sure you get your hands on this one because it is such a great deal. And that concealer, I am telling you, it is going to be your best friend. I absolutely love it. The bronzer, everything in this new little pink box, I'm so excited about. So check the description box down below for links and a list of everything that I used, but I will also put a link directly to my new little pink box and a separate one for the brand new concealer. I will also have my discount code. I'll put it across the screen again here. Thank you again so much for your amazing support in my previous box and continuing on. You are what makes this possible for me and these collaborations possible. I so appreciate your love and support. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.